Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon once again. We are back today for a continuation of daily analysis on different pairs. So today we're going to be talking more about AI on trading, how you can use AI to trade in 2026. People have been able to bring different analysis, different thoughts, different discussions that AI can trade, AI can do this, AI can do that. Fine, AI can actually trade for you, AI can decide for you, AI can analyze market for you. But the fact remains that there are some certain things you need to understand. Using AI is good in one part. Understanding the market himself is another different thing entirely. So that is the reason why this training is very, very important. And for you to benefit from this training, you need to watch it to the end, because at the end, I will be mentioning a lot of things that you need to get and understand on how to use it effectively. So it's very important that we follow up this training to the end, so that when we are able to get to the end, we will understand what it takes for us to use AI effectively. Most importantly is the ability to trade that is key, not really how to use AI. If you can use AI and you don't understand how market works, you will still end up not being able to trade, and that is the truth. So for me, it's always very important that you understand what trading is all about and how to go about it. So now let's start. What is AI in generally? AI is artificial intelligence, and we all know that an artificial intelligence is a machine learning language on its own. So it's an algorithm that decided and make a decision for you. It's an algorithm that talked about issues and think and come up with the solution. It's an algorithm that scan and analyze different things within the database, within the cloud, and give you the result. Now, why did this thing also important to us who are traders? We must not confuse ourselves by taking trading to be something that if it's not AI, we cannot trade, or without AI, we cannot take market analysis. The answer is no. But AI do have its own big advantage, which I so much believe, and I've used it, it has worked for me. So that is the reason why I will be giving you this training for free. And for you to benefit this, please do like and subscribe our page, and so that you can enjoy the other videos that will be coming up after this or before this. So meanwhile, let's go back to the chart analysis. Let's see what exactly can AI do for us. You see, the chart itself, some people actually don't understand how the chart work. The chart itself is an algorithm. You have the yellow, the red, you have the green. When it is red, it means you are selling. When it is green, you are buying, which is also referred as bullish and bearish. Now, how do we use AI in general? First, the first important thing we all know, a layman can understand, is how to use ChatGPT. Now, for instance, let's say for instance we want to trade this trade, which is gold, and we all know that gold is an indices, right? Sorry, gold is a commodity. Nasdaq is an indices. Now, for gold, there are fundamentals which are news that can cause the trading to either go up or come down. There are things that we need to put in place, or the government has put in place, which are political crisis, economic crisis, ecological crisis. All these are things that can easily cause problem. Ecological crisis could come through maybe disaster, maybe earthquake, maybe like the war we have today. They are all ecological crisis, because war cannot come if there is no maybe boundary. You are taking my oil, you are taking my income, this, these are part of things. Then also linked to political crisis. At the end, it all boils down to economic crisis. Now, for you to effectively trade some pairs which are very, very key in the market in forex trading, you must understand fundamentals, and that fundamentals goes with all these problems that I've mentioned that can easily give you the solution One of those pairs are, one is gold, the other one is NASDAQ, which is NAS 100 or US 100, which you have on your screen. We also have US 30, which is US 30 is 30 pairs come together to make a particular market. We also have um, S&P 500, which is also a pair for US pair that has over 500 pairs come together to make an entity. Now, you see, when you are to trade all this market, there are things you must understand. Very, very important that you must understand how those things will work. One of those things are, for instance, let's assume crisis is happening and you don't know the direction of the market, what to do and how to go about it. The next thing you have to do is to go to ChatGPT. When you go to ChatGPT, you ask ChatGPT questions. To say, okay, ChatGPT, I want to have a market in gold. Is there any crisis within the environment or within the community or within the world or whichever that could be of hindrance to your market? That is one. Two, you can also ask ChatGPT, ChatGPT, please give it to me. Is there any market, any pairs in S&P 500 that will make S&P 500 not to move forward? So it's either you are using voice for depending on the one you want to use. So either you are using voice or you are using the typing. The voice can also be identified in your desktop, in your iPhone, in your gadget, whichever one you are using at any particular time, right? Now, for me, I use more of the typing one, which you go to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT that question for it to give you an accurate answer, right? So in all share, we are to ask accurate questions that ChatGPT will fully understand. Don't ask questions that are ambiguous, that doesn't have a direction. Yes, they might give you answers, but you will not get something that actually gives you a concrete result that will solve a solution for you. So it's always very important that whenever we ask questions, make sure your questions are direct and simple. That is always what I tell people. Don't just ask questions because you feel that you're asking questions. Now let's ask ChatGPT first. The first answer is, ChatGPT, tell us, let's use gold for instance. Now, you know how to go to ChatGPT. Let me just do that. You go to Google. For those of us who are new, I believe everybody is watching us and some people might be new. You type chat GPT. Then for me, I always use the login side because I already have an account. Then I go to my login page since I've already registered, right? So you click on the login to just take me directly to the page where I will have access to my account. So now, depends on you. You can say chat GPT, tell me, is there any news that could affect the market analysis on XAUUSD, which is good for today. Today is 9th, right? June 2026. Now let's see the answer. Remember, we still have our normal news page, which is forexfactory.com or investing.com. You can as well do that, but that is not what we are doing now. That is the normal one. Now, today, yes, it said there is a news. There is a fundamental. That means for XAUUSD gold on Tuesday night, Traders are merely focused on several fundamental factors that could move the market today and later this week. One, key market drives key market drivers for gold today. US inflation is there. Second one is Federal Reserve expectation. Third one is US dollar movement. The fourth one is Treasury yield. Fifth one is Middle East geopolitical development. The last one is current technical bias. Now these are different issues. Now as a trader, you need to come together, ask yourself, what is US inflation data, which is CPI? We all know CPI is one of the volatile fundamentals that affect the market, and NFP, non-farm payroll. So these are part of the things that you must understand. So you need to now read most of these things carefully. Now, if you have been able to ask yourself, now remember, you also mentioned current technical bias. Now, the technical bias will be your technical analysis you have done down already. Now, let's check our gold. We have technical analysis ready. We have our technical analysis. Yeah, these are technical analysis. Now, remember, we had a support somewhere here. And we were, if you look at this, actually placed a buy here, but fortunately I didn't trade today. I didn't execute this setup. I decided not to execute it because the market was not stable. It was just ranging in between this zone and up and down. So it was just ranging here, you know, go up, break down, So for me, I was not too comfortable with the market. I decided not to execute that analysis. This one was not effective. Now, this is what we are talking about. Before now, I've asked ChatGPT, I've checked the market analysis, but the market indicators, which is the normal Forex factory we use, today does not really give me any major news. Look at it. Very clean fundamentals report. It doesn't show me there is news. That if I now want to follow this, I may have issues. Now, asking ChatGPT to tell me, ChatGPT has given more insight to let me know that, look, there are more things more than what you are seeing in other technical analysis and your Forex factory or investing.com. Now, I had to check, relax, and see, oh, now it has mentioned the US inflation data, which is the CPI, consumer price index. That is the full meaning. Now, it's also mentioned Federal Reserve expectation. You know what that means? It's just like our central bank. Now, it also mentioned US dollar movement. That means there are some weaker US dollar movement has provided some support for gold today. That means the reason why you are seeing ranging market, there are some report now that there's a US dollar movement that is a bit weak. Then the treasury yields. Now, higher US treasury yields have recently pushed gold towards multi-week lows. Remember, there was a news on Friday that every market dropped during the NFP. Now, all these things. Now, the fifth one is Middle East geopolitical development. Now, there still are some tensions within Iran and US that markets are monitoring report that tensions in the Middle East have eased somewhat. Reduced geopolitical risk can decrease safe haven demand for gold, which is bearish for XAUUSD. So the market is also showing that, oh, every direction is still bearish. People are monitoring what is happening in the Middle East and they are not ready to buy. For now, everybody is just being watchful, being worried to see what the next action that Iran or US will take on the ceasefire agreement. So now come to the technical bias. Gold remains under short bearish pressure after recently touching multi-week, which we have said earlier. The analysis for last week, which made the NFP drop down to bearish level where it is today at as at last week, it was somewhere around 4,367. But as at yesterday and today, there was a very weak movement. So on what we are seeing now, it shows that ChatGPT has further given us the directive on what gold is doing. Now, in that case, we don't have to worry about trading gold. All we need to do is to see the market stabilized, see the market movement. So either is bearish or is trending upward, which is bullish. So at this level, it's ranging, and my dear, we cannot take any trade. Now, that is how gold works. For the analysis, what ChatGPT has given us for gold. Now, let's check S&P 500 or NAS 100. NAS 100 and S&P is sometimes S&P 500, they move in similar ways. Now, let's also check. Now, let's go back to ChatGPT. Um, Tell me more of NAS 100 report of fundamental for today, right? Now we enter and let's see how it goes. ChatGPT has also given us that. Now it says that the overall fundamentals bias for NAS 100 is slightly bullish today, but traders should remain cautious because major US inflation data is approaching this week. Remember, major US inflation data is the CPI, which is Consumer Price Index. It's almost getting close. Now let's check when is that on our consumer, sorry, on our calendar for Forex factory. Let's check for the week. Today is Tuesday, we have Wednesday. Now check Wednesday. You see, ChatGPT just told me there's something, the data inflation is getting close for the US, which is the CPI. Now check. Tomorrow, which is Wednesday, we have US CPI 130, CPI till 245 before the Canadian dollar rate statement overnight ratio rate and all that will happen. See, it's very clear. Now, when you understand this, if you are a swing trader, if you are holding a market for tomorrow or for today that will lead to tomorrow, you need to be very calculative. So to know whether all the gain you have made today will be abolished tomorrow through the CPI. So what you now need to do is to close your SA, your stop loss very tight, or possibly close all your trade before then. If you are going to trade that CPI, you can as well just manage your risk in the lower rates where you can be sure of the direction whether buy or sell. But before then, we can also ask ChatGPT, what do we do? Now, it also mentions some other things. Now, the second one is easy Middle East tension. Remember, I said it's also happened to gold. The Middle East tension is still very available. The third one is falling oil prices. Oil prices are dropping every day. Now, let's check the price of oil for today. Then we go back to then we click on oil. We have, you see, oil price as at today is 87.44 per barrel in a dollar. While as at last week, Friday, we were 95 per dollar. You can imagine within Friday and today, just 3 working days or 2 working days, oil has dropped to 87, which is very, 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 very unusual. So in that case, we need to be very careful. And the ChatGPT has told us with oil falling prices, it can also affect gold. Reason because they are in the same commodity. Crude oil prices have dropped sharply today. Lower energy costs can reduce inflation pressure and support growth-oriented stocks, particularly the technology sector. Now, let's look at the analysis, particularly the technology sector. Technology sectors are US 30, NAS 100, and S&P 500, which is US 100 and US 100 in NASDAQ. Now, what is it trying to tell us? Indirectly, it has given us the direction that, look, as oil is dropping, the pressure and the support growth-oriented stocks, which are commodities and stock, are also going to affect the indices, which are the more of technology. And those technology are the like Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, and all of that. Now, all these companies they just mentioned in technology, they are all in US 100, they are all in S&P 500, and they are in US 30. That automatically we are expecting more sale to happen in this market. Now, What is the last thing it's giving us? Bearish factors. Bearish factors that could pressure NAS 100. That is another point. Bearish factor means that prices will be dropping. Now, the US CPI inflation report, the biggest market moving event this week is the US CPI report. If inflation comes in higher than expected, traders may price in further Federal Reserve rate hike, which is typically negative for NASDAQ stocks. So, in general, for my understanding, for my knowledge, for my experience, for what I've known Forex to be in quite some time, for what ChatGPT is giving us today, I'm not going to be using only the Forex Factory or investing.com to do my analysis. By adding up this analysis, I will now remember, oh, there is tension in the political zone or geopolitical zone, which is Iran and the US. There is tension in oil dropping, and that may affect some stocks. And those stocks are technology stocks, which are also available in US 30, US 100, and US 500. Automatically, there will be drop in the market analysis going forward today and tomorrow. If you check, most of the indices and commodities are selling today, reason because of this uncertainty in the world. So that is how ChatGPT works. It's very straightforward, very straightforward. So all you need to do is to click below, follow us, continue to share our link, subscribe, so that whenever we drop this type of analysis next time, as a forex trader, you don't go to market and gamble. You do technical analysis and you follow fundamentals, which are the major driver of market. Because technical analysis will only give you the trend, maybe uptrend, downtrend, ranging, then the point of interest, the zone, the support and resistance. That is all. That is all. That is all. So by the time you have that, that is not enough, because what is happening all over the world in economic factor, political factor, geopolitical issues here and there are the major driver of market of forex. So my dear brothers and sisters, I so much believe that we have gained a lot as long as today's training is concerned. And I also believe strongly that some of us who are in the tech industry, we really understand this better. And if you are able to follow this, just remember that it's key that you must use tech as part of advantage to trade forex. You must use tech to in fact, research in general, not just understanding tech, research in general is very key when it comes to trading forex. These are the part of the things I also need to tell you. Now, let's look at issue of risk. Let's look at issue of risk analysis. This morning, I was thinking of holding a trade for S&P 500, and then I tried to use it for how do I do my risk management. And I asked ChatGPT, tell me, I want to trade S&P 500 of funded profile of 50K. What's of 50K and using 0.5, using 0.5 and 1% for my risk. Then give me the lot size. Simple. And let's see the result. Now, what I'm trying to do here, it has given me the result. That shows that in risk management, you don't need to over trade or whatever. All is telling you that if your funded account is $50,000, the lot size depends on your stop loss in points or in pips, not just the risk. If you're a forex trader, you understand what I mean by that. Now, risk amount 0.5 risk means you are using $250 per trade. 1% risk means you are using $500. Now, it went further to explain the formula. The lot size equals to risk divided by stop loss times value per point. That means any lot size I'm taking is equal to the risk amount I'm taking. I will divide it by my lot size times the value per point. Now it went further to analyze it here. For S&P 500, US 500 slash S&P 500, which is the pair, the point value varies by broker. So I will give common examples assuming. You know what I mean by that? We have different brokers. We have okay, in Nigeria we have Esnes, we have Ota FS, Pepperstone, we have SP Market, we have a lot of them. There are so many. There are so many. So HFM broker and all that. Now what is it giving us? They may not give you the same lot size. There are different little ways you will have some differences depending on the broker, but that does not mean they are going to have any issue with your trade. Now maybe some other time we'll do a video or a very good analysis on brokers so that you understand how you can use your leverage, your spread and all that to decide which brokers you will use. Please do not forget to click below so that you can always get any of this topic we are discussing that we'll be doing as time goes on. I can assure within that before the week runs out, you'll have that video. Now let's have stop loss 10 points. In 10 points, you have 0.5, you have 25 lots, you have 50 lots, right? On 1%, you are using 50 lots. On 0.5, you are using 25 lots. But for me, please don't look at this for S&P 500. Let's just go straight to 50 points. 50 points is just like 50 pip. That means it's good enough to use 50 pip. For me, I always use within 50 and 75. Some people use as good as 100. If you are going to be a swing trader, 100 is good. Because anytime there is a retracement, before it can take you off, it will reverse back to that particular zone, right? So it's always good to use within 50 and 100 for a swing. If you are not swinging, well, I think 40, 50 is okay. Now, if you are using 0.5, you use 5 lots. If you are using 1%, you use 10 lots. For 100 pip, if you are using 0.5, you use 2.5 lots. For 1%, you use 5 lots. This is straightforward. Now, you cannot be able to sit down. You can even ask further. I am using Esnes as my broker. Let's see what ChatGPT will tell us. Everything is there. All you just need is to get the solution, use that solution to apply. Now, using Esnes, the exact lot size for US 500, which is S&P 500, it depends on the lot size distance between contract specification can be varied by account type and instrument symbol. Now let's go straight to that. That is the area where I said I'll mention the spread and all that so that you understand what this analysis is talking about. Now let's look at for $50,000 account, we have 0.5 as 250, 1% as 500. Now, for quick example again, it also analyzed the same thing to us, but we said we're going to measure in 50 and 100, where we'll be talking about 5 lots and 2.5. For 100 points, for me, I'm okay with 2.5 or 5 lots. That is calm. But anything 10 lots, 5 lots for funded account, no. All you need to calculate is your risk to reward, which is your R. If you are risking 100 points, which is 2.5, which is half of this, half of your 1%, now you are getting times 2. That means automatically you have 1.5 as your result. Even at any time you lose, you are not going to lose so much. You will still have something to fall back to. So that is the essence why you need to just do your calculation very well and also calculate number of days. Maybe 2 weeks, you want to be getting at least in a week, you trade 5 times, you lose 3 and get and win 2. If you lose 3 and win 2, you're still having the same result. A very good one. So you can also ask ChatGPT that result on your assignment, it will give you the result. Now to calculate precisely, please, the exact symbol you trade on SNES EG, which is US 500 and US Tech, your plan, the second one is your planned stop loss in point must be in place. For example, US 500 50-point stop loss, cool, or 75 is okay. You can calculate, ChatGPT will give you what to do. So these are how we trade using ChatGPT. It's straightforward, it's very nice, it's very unique. And mind you, you don't just manage to jump into trade because you feel you're into trading, anything you point, because somebody use 100 lot, like some of our mentors are using 100 lot. They have the money, it depends on the amount they have in their account. Some of those guys are trading with millions. So you that is trading prop firm, risking 1%, having 3% per day as your loss. If you want to take that risk because you want to make money overnight, sorry, you will just lose out and everything will be out of your hand. So my dear brothers and sisters, guys, thank you for always following us all the time. I know this video is long, just follow us to the end, click the subscribe button, share, likes, and follow us in all our social media. Data Point Online Academy wishes to thank you once again. Thank you all. May God bless you. Thank you.